Yeah, there is a little bit of potential here, I would say, to maybe kill off the Storm. Maybe you get like a hook into a Cogs pushback, maybe, and then a Rod of Atos or something from the Shadow Fiend. Could potentially find you a kill. It's a support Nature's Prophet, so we're probably not going to be seeing an Orchid or anything like that on him. That's probably not too much of a concern. We do have our little Cogs shenanigans happening. Limp already up to 9 souls, so it looks like they are going to be completely maxing him out.
Yeah, absolutely. Very beneficial for making sure you've got that early game presence, right? If they want to end this game early, winning the laning stage is step 1. And that just gives you that additional damage to make sure that's a much more likely possibility. We'll probably see this Earth Spirit rotate through very, very quickly into this mid lane. I know we've talked about wanting to make it a kill lane in these side lanes, but I think making sure that that Shadow Fiend dies, gets those souls halved, and just makes it much more difficult for him to have that dominating early game performance.
Is there any consideration to just like double smoke the Shadow Fiend right at level 1 just to reset his souls? Like send the Jakiro and the Earth Spirit at his lane?
Yeah.
Right at minute.
I honestly do, yeah.
I think that would be pretty good. You know that they're doing this. Like there's no way that you are you're going to be in the dark about what Complexity are up to.
Yeah, absolutely. Farming up those souls up to 12 denies now, and he's making his way down towards the mid lane.
And that's the reason that we see Vampire doing this as well. He knows that the other heroes are all still inside of the base. So he feels super safe to just go scouting. He knows that the Clockwork's probably skilled up Cogs at level 1 as well, so no threat of the battery assault. And you need to try and punish this as much as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And that'll be all confirmed when you do see the Necromastery stacks coming up. But Miracle positioning himself in the way of the bounty rune to deny Vampire from taking this bounty, although he rolls through towards it.
Oh, it looks like he's going to be there just in time. He does manage to secure it and head up onto the high ground. And that is going to be the Pango securing a lot of bounty runes here. Bounty Rune Exodia, there you go.
Yeah.
All 4 at the beginning of the game. Well, that's the price you pay when you go for those souls.
Absolutely. You can't think of a much better start for Pango, although Vampire is getting dived a little bit, but he'll be able to walk himself away.
Interesting to see the, I guess not super interesting, but the Earth Spirit opting for the Orb of Venom instead of a Stat Shield shows to me 100%, like the panel were saying, he wants to influence and kill these lanes. He's not interested in just hunkering down in one lane and getting some levels. He wants to be ganking right from the word go.
Absolutely. Oh, getting the range creep denied. In mid lane was Limp there, but it's looking relatively even early on. No last hits yet for the Storm Spirit.
Tough lane at top for the Doom. There's a lot of physical damage there, especially with the Blightstone already picked up as well on the Nature's Prophet.
Absolutely.
So I guess he's hoping that he finds himself Ice Armor creep or something. Death in a little bit of trouble at bottom. It's only level 1 spin, but they've got pretty much the full damage, and Dual Breath is an amazing ability at this point of the game, but Brewmaster just a little bit too tanky. So goes to get body blocked up at top. These Treants are causing so many problems for him. Miracle's getting slowed down by that Orb of Venom. They get one more slow, one more auto attack, and there's your first blood drawn by Z-Freak.
Honestly, outside of the Shadow Fiend, I can't think of a better hero to be getting that first blood on Complexity's side. Just the way that Z-Freak likes to build the Nature's Prophet. He goes into the quick medallion, he goes into level 1 Necro Book, and then he goes into stuff like the Force Staff. So you're able to both use your cogs offensively, but as well as defensively, and then still Force Staff your cores out, make sure that they're able to be in a safe space.
So far the mid lane actually still relatively even, gotta say. I mean, the Shadow Fiend is effectively 8-1 against the Storm Spirits 8-2.
Yep.
So Iceberg still holding his own despite the fact that the Shadow Fiend came into this lane completely yoked with all of those souls.
Absolutely. Grabbing up the illusion, so that'll make the last hitting a little bit easier for him until those razors start to come online. Well, they are online now at level 3, but...
So we said no Battle Fury for the Troll. What build are you anticipating here?
I would say something more like Maelstrom, S&Y, Phase Boots, Drums, that sort of thing, where you're able to get really aggressive early on.
Do you like the Maelstrom?
I do. I think it just gives you a bit of variety in the types of damage that you're doing. I think, I don't know, it's just one of those really early accelerator items, and it's not something like Death isn't going to be the one that builds the drums. Death typically gets like a Vlad's, and then he goes straight into the Blink Dagger after that. Oh, going in deep onto
forward.
Limp.
Yeah, they're looking for Limp. The Fairy Fire keeps him alive a little bit longer. He gets into the trees. Might be able to look for a turnaround, actually, as he starts salving up. He gets 1 kill. Iceberg still diving for this, but Limp still limping away. Iceberg, can he get one more auto attack? Charges up the overload, but Limp's already juked him. They wanted to reset those souls, and instead they just feed away a kill, and Limp is feeling it.
Absolutely, and nice little tip coming through as well from Iceberg, knowing it's all in good fun.
It was very well played.
Yeah, absolutely. He even had the Mango as well, so if he continued to try and dive on that Storm Spirit, he could have turned around and hit a double ways.
Brewmaster's actually leading on farm at the moment. 16-4. Death hasn't really been getting a ton of help down here, but
yeah, and I think
to be farming just fine.
That's really surprising to me as well, because he went the Thunderclap level 1. So he didn't have the the dodge, the easy last hit chance from having the Drunken Brawler.
But they've managed to kick Limp under the tower and pulling him back in. All right, this time around he's not going to survive, and this time around the tips are going to flow once again.
And he just TP'd back to that lane, so it's going to take him a long time to actually get back. He's going to miss out on at least one full wave of farm.
Super unexpected point in the Vortex, right? But works great in this situation.
Yeah, it's definitely much more worthwhile to get just the one value point early on.
They increased the pullback range by a long way, right?
They increased the range, and that you don't get slowed by it anymore.
All right, well, Iceberg, getting manned up on a little bit, but there's the creep wave and Vampire rolling in, so it's actually 343 who is in big trouble, and Adam will just be giving away his life. We've had both position 4s rotating for kills in mid, and both of them kind of...
Oh, Z-Freak's coming in.
He's trying for it. Okay, they get the roll stun. Oh, we do still have Iceberg escaping. A couple more auto attacks. Z-Freak can't quite finish the job. He is body blocking Vampire, but it looks like Pango, both of their heroes, going to end up escaping. And now Spin on the bottom. Death will be brought down. He wanted to contest for that 5-minute bounty, but Pango grabbing some very quick kills.
Yeah, and here comes that 5-minute bounty as well. We've got 343 rotating through him and Z-Freak. And, they do end up grabbing it, but getting chased down.
But the Sprout at the cogs, not the best. Naive actually even goes back for that. Did he get the double value tango there off the Sprout?
I think he might have.
Yeah, pretty nice for him. And they're still running at him, but I don't think he's in too much danger. Slayer, on the other hand, looking like it's a bit more of a dire situation for him. Jakiro is pretty tanky.
The battery assault.
Yeah, they got Z-Freak moving into position as well. No escape from these body blocks. He's got the micro.
Just being a bit of a nuisance. But in terms of the actual net worth, we can see Storm Spirit having a more favorable time than the Shadow Fiend. About 800 net worth ahead at this point, coming as a result of those really nice rotations coming through from the Earth Spirit.
Yeah, he's doing fantastic. And this was always going to be the worry, right? The last pick, Storm Spirit, we flagged it as a really good game. The panel flagged it as a good game. And we were talking about being worried about high grounding against the Storm Spirit. If the Storm gets out of control at the beginning of the game, I think Complexity's lineup just falls apart.
Rotation coming through. Not quite level 6 on the Storm yet in this mid lane.
Does get the pull off. He's not quite level 6. Does get auto attack down. And Vampire actually rolling in very aggressively, but a few more auto attacks, and he will also end up falling.
That's a good way to bring it back around to your side, but Death going down.
They get something.
Yeah, it was not a solo kill. Needed the Jakiro to be able to finish that off, but still a welcome kill going the way of this Juggernaut.
And Ghostic's super happy that the supports aren't top.
Absolutely.
He had a miserable start to the lane, but now at least getting some CS, getting a little bit of farm. And this bottom lane is now starting to go a bit more how I expected, with more pressure on the Brewmaster. I think they really let him get away with murder at bottom earlier. It could have been the Clockwork stealing waves. And that was kind of keeping him ahead on farm, and there wasn't really a whole lot that the Jakiro could do to stop that.
Yeah. Speaking of the Clockwork, he's rotating through with this smoke towards the top side of the river, going towards that mid lane, trying to pick off Iceberg, but maybe rotating back because he realizes that he's hitting his level 6 on the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, and they've put a ton of vision down at top. They've actually both blocked this medium camp, and they've got the high ground ward, so ready for any kind of rotations over into this position. And they might even be anticipating that Iceberg is going to be coming over to farm this, so wanting to keep the pressure up on the Storm.
Yeah, that was about 30 seconds to a minute wasted by the Clockwork. Just walking around, he already had an Observer ward there, so wasn't really too much point in staying around for that long and wasting a smoke as well.
So So far, it feels like the Clockwork, sure, he gave the souls to the Shadow Fiend, but didn't really seem like it influenced the mid lane too much.
Yep.
What's your read on the impact that the Clockworks kind of had?
I think you need to be incredibly effective in these early rotations as a Clockwork, otherwise it becomes much more of a useless hero later on. He hasn't really had that impact. Sure, it's great to enable the Shadow Fiend, but the Shadow Fiend has died now.
Yeah.
I think the positive that's coming for them is that Z-Freak's getting an okay amount of farm. You know, he's built into this Blightstone. He's got his Chainmail picked up now. It'll be very, very soon.
Once again at bottom. He's going to try for the TP up, but there's so many crits from Naive, actually.
Ooh.
Just needed one more to finish that kill.
Just gets away. Aggression on top lane as well.
Yep, more body blocks, but Ghosty gets through it with his phase boots. It's going to be fine.
Getting closer and closer to that medallion. I'm sure they'll look to go for a few more pickoffs once that's picked up.
Iceberg making a rotation here, actually. Ghostic's not quite level 6, so if they can get that up, maybe they throw out the Doom and would be able to bring down Miracle. He was the big problem for them in the previous game, so if they can slow down the Troll, that would really help a lot. He's a lot of their building damage as well this game. I imagine the Shadow Fiend, you know, going for sort of that tanky build, get the spell amplification at level 10, and just go from there.
Absolutely. He can buy the power treads as well, which he's got queued up on the side shop, Iceberg, but he's spending a lot of time just standing around, not doing too much. And in the meantime, you've got the Shadow Fiend farming the jungle. You've got, I suppose the Earth Spirit is sitting in that mid lane, getting a bit of experience for himself.
Well, they're rolling forward, trying to catch him to 3-4-3. They do get the slow at the very least. Now, Iceberg's going to come zipping over, but Limp's also in the neighborhood, and this Clockwork is relatively tanky. Z-Freak now TPs, and it looks like it should just be a 1-for-1. Iceberg just enough mana left in the tank, plus a Mango.
Doesn't have much left,
though. He should
though.
be okay. Yeah, he's going to be fine.
Choosing to back off a little bit, which a little bit weird. You know, he'd used up all of his mana. He had a Mango, sure. Just used his last bottle charge. I think they could have chased him down, particularly since you had that Earth Spirit that had just gone down, wasn't going to respawn for a few seconds.
Yeah, it would have been nice to even just force the zip, keep running at him, so he can't go and immediately farm with that. And not again. Is this, once again, we have the Pango. This entire series, the Pango have secured so many more bounty runes than Complexity. I don't know if it's something that they're not thinking about, but look at this, 1,700 gold versus 0.
Yeah. It's free money, right? Who doesn't want free money? Speaking of, Naive has to be very careful.
The nice cog pushback into the secondary raise. He gets the spin out now, but he just didn't realize that the Clockwork was in the fog there. All right, we said that the Clockwork wasn't doing too much in the rotations, and that is a doozy.
I mean, if it's a 4-for-1 situation, you probably get the kill anyway, and you know, good on them. They've transitioned this into a bit of a push. I believe they have the medallion built up on Z-Freak now, so they're going to continue to use that to try and get some additional pushing power throughout these lanes. But in the meantime, you've just got the Storm Spirits sitting in this mid lane, although Shadow Fiend TPing towards him.
Straight into an Ice Path. The 3-4-3 is just around the corner. Doesn't have the hook shot, so just has to walk forward. Iceberg tanking up the tower a little bit. And they're just going to go for the Clockwork now, also rolling in on top of the Shadow Fiend. They need to choose their target. Iceberg, not quite enough mana, is trying to bottle up to continue this fight, but Limp's pretty tanky. I don't know if this tick damage is quite going to be enough, so Iceberg does zip the long way in, finishes that kill. He's still got the Mango in reserve, and they've got the Primal Split now popped. Iceberg just wants to retreat up onto the high ground, it looks like. Panda's doing decent damage to him. He's actually going to zip over towards 3-4-3, bounces off of the cogs. One more auto attack will do it, and Pango now just kiting away from this Death Ultimate, which is just about to fade. Awesome for them. Got the tier 1, got those 2 kills. Not sure if they're completely out just yet, though.
He's just got the TP up, just got the mana for it.
All right. That was really nice.
I thought 3-4-3 played that team fight really well with the Clockwork, being able to stick on top of the Jakiro, make sure that there wasn't any dual breath coming out onto him. But for some reason, he actually stepped away for half a second and then enabled him to get the dual breath onto the Shadow Fiend. It meant that the Storm could dive that deep onto him, and he went down as a result.
Yeah, and that's a pretty nasty death for Limp, actually. He's right in the middle of the net worth chart at the moment. And once again, similar to the previous game, Pango dominating 3 of those top 4 spots. Miracle still holding his own. And the Pango, they've got a Doom that they're really interested in using with this smoke. They've got a ward up on the high ground. Looks like Miracle is probably the likely target. He has just gone for a Vlad, so being very safe item build-wise on this troll. The Doom comes out, Ice Path connects onto 2. They are going to hook in, but the immediate silence onto the Clockwork, so he can't even get the cogs off. Roll forward from Iceberg does big damage, but Limp is just raining down raises from the high ground. They will at least manage to kill off the Jakiro. It's a 1-for-1 thus far. And they're still looking for Ghostic, but I think he's a little bit too fast to bring down. They are TPing Z, well, they're threatening the TP from Z-Freak.
Yeah, and because of this, I don't want to call it dominance, but early game favor, I'd say more going in the way of Pango. You know, they've picked up all of the bounty runes thus far. They've had the better side of the engagements. Yes, they're falling a bit behind in the kill score, but they've still got the net worth lead. You've got this Juggernaut going into the Battle Fury build. So he's playing for a bit more of the late game. And the Storm Spirit obviously having a very good time early on, easily has more net worth than the Shadow Fiend. So they can afford to do that. There's not going to be that excessive pressure coming onto it.
So you like the Battle Fury build?
I don't mind it in this scenario. You know, it shouldn't be a catch-all thing that you just build every single time, cookie cutter build. Yeah. You really need to adapt to the situation. And I think that's what Pango have done really well.
Especially having seen the Troll Warlords build as well, I think you're going to be pretty confident that, okay, if I go Battle Fury and he's just bought a Vlad's, I'm going to out-carry him this game.
Yeah. Oh, hook shot in onto the Jakiro.
Yep, he just wanted to get some warding done here, and he's going to end up being some free souls for Lim. Quickly raised down, and probably very quickly de-warded not too long after.
Absolutely.
So with this Vlad's, is the play they're hoping for a really early Roche on Complexity? They haven't taken that mid-tier 1 just yet, which is probably a big thorn in their side.
I really don't like the Vlads on the Troll. I think you should have gone something more like the drums. Leave the Vlads to the Brewmaster instead.
Yeah. Would you have preferred even just getting like a Yasha first?
Yeah, wouldn't mind it.
Okay. Oh, and they're waiting for him up on the high ground once again. The Pango hunting down Miracle. He was the problem in the previous game. He gets the ultimate off, though. Iceberg needing to be careful of the roots. Miracle still auto-attacking through. The lifesteal is good. Pango looking for the turnaround now. They still finish this kill. Death getting kited somewhat. He will pop the Primal Split, but what can he actually find? It looks like it might just be Slayer. They see Iceberg on slightly low mana, and they will actually go for him instead. Can they get the mana burn? They do manage to, and the pushback into the stun. Blocking him down. Now the Sprout catching a bit more, but I think that might need to be it. Complexity a little bit low on mana, and they've actually got the root now. Hook shot away. 50-minute rune. That's going to be their first one of the game as the Doom does come out onto the SF. Omnislash bouncing around. Z-Freak soaking up the majority of it. And he will get brought down. Both of the bouncer and still just chill on top as we have this 5-on-5 fight over at bottom.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate for Complexity, or rather well played by Pango, that they chose to use the Doom onto the Shadow Fiend. He just picked up his mechanism, so it meant that he wasn't able to use it in that team fight. It could have potentially been a turnaround for them if he was able to get that off.
It's a huge survivability boost against the Omnislash.
Absolutely. I think Z-Freak could have actually spawned the triggers. I'm not sure if it was off cooldown, but right after he died it was. So maybe just panicking a little bit on this
rotating bottom.
stage.
I don't know if they're going to save the tier 1 tower. It's already dead, but everybody on Complexity converges. Now you're just going to go for the TP out Ghost Stick. Not so lucky. Tanks up a bit, but will get crit down in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, it is a 4-man rotation for 1 kill. It's on the off lane. Sure, it's an alright kill, but the net worth doesn't represent that, right? It's still a 2k net worth lead for the Pango. They're still farming away on Iceberg and the Juggernaut. Jug has not quite picked up the Battle Fury just yet, but he's so close.
And all these fights are happening on totally the wrong side of the map, if you're Complexity, right? Yeah. You've got this lineup, which is all about 5-manning, all about winning the game fast, buying these early game items like your mech, your Vlads, and I would say that they're losing, but even if they were trading, I don't think they're going to be very happy with what's happening. This Storm Spirit is starting to get really scary. Iceberg ready with the Kaya. And it looking like a free Storm game. He's actually just sizing up the Bloodstone as the next item.
Yeah, absolutely. I think once he hits that level 12, maybe a little bit beforehand if we see Complexity get out of position, but he's keen on using that Arcane Rune, or I think he was about ready to zip towards top.
He wanted that Z-Freak kill, but I guess respecting them a little bit after the way that last fight went, and he just got like cogs into the boulder and just immediately died. Probably wants to tank up a little bit more.
I'm liking the Z-Freak build going the double braces. Just increases his magic resistance by a little bit, make sure he survives for a bit longer.
Shout outs to Mike.
Oh yeah, shout outs to Mike. But he's not a +5, so
that's true.
He's making it a little bit more versatile, this style of build.
I like it just because the Storm has to commit more mana to kill him.
Yeah.
Right? And that gives them more chances to find some kind of a turnaround.
And even just stuff like living for that extra second that you need for your treants to come off cooldown, right?
All right. With the Arcane Rune, Iceberg's just playing with them.
Yeah, he's very confident so far. He's got his level 12, so that speed of the zip is much, much faster. Z-Freak just positioning himself in this bot lane, trying to push when a distraction is created by his team. Looks like that's what they're planning on.
Oh man, they ran all the way top, but just didn't find anything.
And now the Jakira's had time to rotate towards that bot lane, so it can be pushed out a little bit. We've got Storm just farming away in the jungle, and a little bit of a hush comes over the battlefield.
Nice train positioning. Sitting
yeah.
on the shrine. They know that the Storm TP'd away. Limp in some danger. The Omni Slash is bouncing on him. He will get the mech off, still surviving for a little bit longer. Now the hook shot comes through. Naive won't quite be able to finish off this kill. He's going to spin TP out, and Iceberg zips across the map, finishes the kill. That's the last of his mana, so that's the last we're going to see of him for this team fight, as now they doom up on Miracle. Vampire's still going. This Magnetize has been bouncing the entire time, and Iceberg, he's actually got himself a regen rune, so he continues to charge forward. Death just about to run out on the ultimate, and Iceberg's not done, in fact. Regen still running. Half mana. Can they actually get this kill? Nice ice path from Slayer, and the rest of the team coming over to help secure this kill, as they will get 3 for 1 under their tier 2 tower.
Oof, that is not ideal at all. They actually tossed him up into the Storm Panda tornado, so he was regenning that entire time, and
yeah,
essentially just a little bit of a breather for him.
Yeah. I said it in the fight, right? I was like, okay, that's the end.
Yep.
And it wasn't. It was that Arcane Rune previously didn't do too much, but that Regen Rune was a fight winner, and I mean, at this point, we might even start talking about it as a game winner, because the Pango are continuing to stay ahead, getting more and more farm. Miracle's still up there, but I worry about this troll. And if you're playing a single core lineup effectively against a Doom, that's trouble.
Absolutely. You know, you just get doomed and you're useless, right? Even if he gets the BKB off, which he is building into, he's a fair way away from it. But even if you get it off, sure, you don't take some of the damage, but you can't really do anything in these team fights. And they don't have something like the Darkseer, for example, to enable him to actually catch these people.
Yeah, and the Primal Split is supposed to be winning them fights at this point, but the Primal Split has kind of at best been trading. They're just playing so aggressively.
Scouting out into the Roche pit is Shioma the Slayer.
It's nice. They've got Vlad's. You never know. The troll could actually be in there just taking it by himself.
Was that their first bounty runes on Complexity?
No, they got one in the last round. When they were fighting and then they were running back at 15 minutes, they picked up one. Okay. And then they picked up a second after Miracle TP top.
Yeah. So. All right. So not too bad.
Sure.
Definitely not the case at 10 minutes.
Yeah. Right now, even with a even kill score, I think the Pango very much favored.
Yeah, I would think so as well. It seems like it could go their way if it finishes in. I think they're playing for the late game, right? They don't need to rush. They have nothing that they're rushing about, and we can see the response from Complexity. They want to take fights now before it gets even more out of control. Except
the Jug is the one to break the smoke.
Yeah.
So not easy to kill him at this stage of the game, and they're just flushing out their side of the map. This is not an aggressive move that's immediately going to segue into a tower.
Yeah. They realize what's happening as well, just retreating back a little bit on the Radiant side. They've actually picked out that smoke on the
they got to be careful. That's a bit isolated from the team. And Naive just going to kite them. They need to be careful of this Storm Spirit. He's got his Bloodstone, and there's a bunch of charges waiting for him here as they jump in. They've got the lockdown onto the Shadow Fiend. He's been doomed. Nothing from him. Miracle will get off the ultimate. He's surviving for a little bit longer as he works through the Doom. But as that finishes, he's going to be the next one to fall. Z-Freak trying to escape, but caught by the Boulder Smash. He's going to be one more in the Bloodstone. And such an easy fight for the Pango. We criticized Slayer last game for the Witch Doctor plays, and he is having a fantastic time on this Jakiro.
Yeah, great Ice Pass coming through. That healing ward was up the entire fight just because there was that much chaos happening. A lot of that, on the back of Slayer, being able to make sure that, you're not going to rotate through onto my backline, and they have no potential to do that other than the clockwork, I suppose, but he was easily zoned out of that fight.
Complexity it just feels like every fight they're just walking at people.
Yeah.
They really just don't seem to have the catch. And the panel flagged the 2 support picks as being a problem for the Pango in the previous game. And it feels like Complexity kind of having a similar issue here. I think if the early game had gone a lot better, then we would be praising them as like, oh, genius support picks. It's completely taking over the game, and they're looking for this like 25, 30-minute end. but that hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened. I suppose another benefit is that Z-Freak has over 2,000 gold just sitting in his bank. So he could look to build up something that's going to turn these fights around. I think they've had enough time to analyze what exactly it is that's going to bring them back into this game. You know, is it more sustain? Probably not, because they've got the Guardian Greaves and they're still dying. Is it?
So what do you think?
I mean, something like a 4-staff seems all right to me. Just get away from that Juggernaut.
Yeah. Do you think there's any consideration for like a Glimmer Cape as well?
It's okay.
It's tough mono-wise, right, on the Nature's Prophet?
It's tough mono-wise. You want to be doing damage, I think, on the Nature's Prophet, or actually actively CCing people, as opposed to being a defensive support.
Yeah. Well, there we go. You do have the 4-staff coming in. Iceberg just creating space while his team takes the Roshan. Is he going to be the one to take the Aegis, though, is the question. They're still rolling for, they really want 3-4-3. These Bloodstone charges going to continue to rack up to 19 now for Iceberg. Z-Freak coming over, is going to scout out the Roshan. But rest of the team not really in a position to do anything. And yeah, there you go. Oh my god, this Storm Spirit is a monster.
Yeah, absolutely. Z-Freak did end up picking up that 4-staff, but wasn't able to do much other than realize that Roshan was about to die.
Oh, man. And they can't even split push, right?
Nope.
Like, you can't split against the Storm. You can't really farm on your own.
I mean, he's trying, but in this bot lane, you've just got the Juggernaut tipping down. Oh, no, death.
Yep. Double damage on the Storm Spirit. Roll forward, stun. I think they would even let him pop the Primal Split at this point because it's just not going to do anything, but easy kill.
I mean, I don't know about that, Death. They had pretty good luck this time.
This game is only getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
Okay, so Shadow Fiend's going for a Manta. Potentially useful item this game. Even though things are looking bad now, if we get, say, to the 40-50 minute mark, does the Complexity Tricore come back a little bit for you, or assuming that they manage to hold the high ground?
Not really. I mean, they've already used all the drum charges on the Brewmaster. He's building into a BKB just to make sure he can get his Primal Split off, so he's not going to be doing any more damage later on.
Yeah.
You've got a Juggernaut that's built into a Battle Fury, so he's able to farm even faster than all of you, and you've got a Storm Spirit that's out of control in the early game, and has 20 Bloodstone charges.
The way that Iceberg is playing, it looks like he's, one, having a lot of fun, and two, he's just doing whatever he pleases.
Yeah.
I'll take a wave here, I'll take a camp here. And I think even if you just watch the mini-map, Complexity are spending all of their time just running away from him.
And he can take these risks, right? Yeah. He's got the Aegis, he's TPing down towards...
They're looking for Limp. They have actually managed to find him out in the trees. He's going to go for the TP out. Can they interrupt that? Yes, they can. Throwing out the Doom just for good measure. 100% ensure that he's dead. I don't think they even needed to, but why not?
May as well. Just secure it.
Complexity is not fighting you anytime soon.
Yeah, oh, he's got an Orchid as well on this Storm Spirit. Big zip through. Not going to catch anyone.
This is terrifying.
Yeah.
This is like...
All the tier 2's gone. You just have to wonder, what do we need to do to claw our way back into this game? I honestly can't think of it. I'm going to be completely honest. It's only a 13k net worth lead, but it feels like 20 plus.
What's the best comparison for you? Is this like this is a Cloverfield situation, that the Storm Spirit, you just stay as far away from him as humanly possible. There's nothing that you can do about it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the Aegis still. It's still got about 2 minutes left on it, so he has that luxury of saying, you know what, I'm just going to go maybe extend a little far.
This is my base now. This is my mid lane. For sure.
Only the 1 point in the Liquid Fire, so they're not going this sieging build on the Jakiro. They're going the full enabling of his cause.
Yep.
He's sitting wisely back on the back line all throughout.
And Jug just chopping wood. Z-Freak comes forward to try and protect a little bit. Sprout being a little bit annoying, but they're not really doing anything else on the map other than watching their buildings die. The Glyph is going to get used, but Pango could also just easily back up at this point, though. Looks like they want that full lane of racks. BKB is picked up by the Doom. Can they force a team fight here? Iceberg's thinking about it. He's got full mana, gets the drag back. Some free damage on this Troll Warlord as he also gets silenced up. Miracle pops the BKB. Hasn't used the ultimate just yet. They do get the hook in, but the immediate silence onto the Clockwork. He can't get the cogs out. Vampire's also going to be okay. Rolling away. Miracle finally gets into the ultimate. The Omniscience bouncing around. Looks like he'll just be brought down as the three-man Ice Path. Slayer is having an awesome game, and looks like this should just be the end of it. The Pango forcing that GG out in 27 minutes.
Oh, complete reversal from the last game. Well, if anything, it was more taking what happened in the early game of game 1 and